Welcome to the B-Sides and Beers podcast.
Welcome to B-Sides and Beers, episode 16. Tonight we're talking CanRock, mostly informed history on all things Canadian rock. How are we doing tonight, boys?
Awesome.
Feeling pretty good, yeah.
Cool.
Excited to talk about this, actually.
Good. So who of us came up with this? I don't even remember. It was kind of a last-minute thing that I think we all forgot about in the mix of the last 2 weeks, and then had about a night and a half to cram for. So,
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I think it was just like a collective. We all kind of wanted to do it. You know, it was one of those ones that, you know, it's got to be done.
We've been alluding to it for a while. I think there's a lot of Canadian bands that have been mentioned in previous podcasts, and I think it's probably going to be something ongoing because it was a really interesting dive. I wanted to concentrate on first of all, one geographical area, and then I wanted to concentrate on one specific period of time. And then I was just like, oh yeah, these guys and these guys. And I just I was all over the place. So
Me too. I almost did the exact same thing that you did. And I tried to kind of pigeonhole it into different categories, and I couldn't do it. So I just ended up writing down random names of bands that I thought were cool or that I forgot about. And that's what I got to bring to the table.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start off with what we're drinking tonight. Who wants to go first?
Dane, go for it.
there you go. There's the sound bite for you. It's a Grosh. Another Grosh. Back on the beer.
Good.
Attaboy.
Enough wine.
Yeah.
I'm drinking. Oh. Yeah. I'm drinking a Sapporo.
Oh.
Ooh. I haven't had one of those in a very long time. I think the last time I had one of those was probably 2010.
Yeah. Oh, it's
been
just
a
so
while.
good. It's like it's a standard.
It's Japanese,
I can always
right?
go back to it. Japanese, yeah. Like I always have it in Chinese or Japanese restaurants, but it's
a rice beer, yeah.
It's so good every time. Yeah. Yep, it's good.
Yeah, about probably 2010 or so. I got into the Sapporo, and I got into a lot of sake for a while there.
Cold or hot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Warm. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow,
I hadn't had any kind of history with it before. You know, you always hear sake, but you never really. Well, it's difficult to find in most liquor stores, right? So, I stumbled upon some, and then I was on a good month-long kick of that. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever had baijiu before?
I know.
So it's like another alcohol made from rice, and I think it's popular in China. Holy cow. It kind of...
Is it wicked high alcohol content? Or?
You know, I'm not sure. It's just got a taste that slaps you in the friggin' mouth, though.
in a good way, like you want more? Or is it like, okay,
it's
I'm
like
done?
kind of in a tequila, like this is going to taste fucking horrible, but it's going to work.
It's going to be
Well, I should
fun.
say that tequila tastes good, but it...
It can, yes, it can.
Some can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sapporo. There you go.
Cool. Well, tonight I'm back on the Parallel 49 Brewing Company here. I've got a beer I've never seen before. I guess it's a relatively new deal, seasonal possibly. It fits the theme of this. It's called the Toques of Hazard. And it's got two guys riding a Zamboni with the General Lee 01 numbers on it. It is a double white IPA, and it is a 9.2% alcohol. So this is going to be a fun one, I think.
Talk about punches in the mouth, man.
9.2. Holy. There you go.
There you go. Let's try that out.
Not drinking for taste tonight. How's that? I
crap.
bet.
Holy crap. That's awesome. Wow.
That can I see that can? Can you
that is definitely an extra strong
That's
IPA.
Parallel 49?
Yeah.
You got to love it when companies just don't give a fuck about IP, hey? Like, just, I guess they're not ripping off Dukes of Hazzard that much, but...
it's creative, man. It's... you change it enough, and it's you got to have something interesting, right? Yeah. So,
I never watched the Dukes of Hazzard until it was like re-shown on CMT. Like I used to watch that when it was on CMT when we were like, 19.
You never watched it as a kid?
Whoa!
No, I never saw it as a kid. I saw it later on when it was replayed on CMT, and I watched them all then. But no, I don't remember watching it.
Wow, yeah, I watched it. From what I remember, a ton. So
it must have seemed fucking ridiculous to you at the age of 19, because when you're a kid, you're like, oh yeah, that car can jump like 100 feet in the air. Obviously, it's the General Lee.
Yeah,
yeah.
And like the
yeah, I know. It was absolutely. I think that it's like watching the A-Team when you're in your 20s for the first time. You're like, what the hell is going on?
Well, it really changes things too when you remember from your childhood that it was this great show, and then you watch it as an adult, and you're looking at the General Lee, and you see the pro-slavery flag on the roof of the car. It's like
yeah, there's a lot in that show that would not pass in today's standards, but
it's unbelievable what went on in the 80s. We were watching National Lampoon European Vacation today. And within the first 5 minutes, we're just like, our jaws are on the ground. We're like, this is super awkward and like weird. It's just weird 80s humor that you would never get away with now.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
The times are different.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, there's even some recent stuff though too. Like we rewatched some Office, like the American Office.
Yep.
And there's some stuff in there even like, okay, how many years ago was that? Like 10 years ago maybe?
Yeah, about that. Yep.
Yeah, like
10, 12,
like some of it is not appropriate like in like now. It's the jokes are not, they don't land well in today's day and age, I guess. Where we're like, whoa, like a couple of those like right? But at the time we were probably like, haha, that was funny, or I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe we were like that back then too. I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Mental state was different back then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Plus we're older and more sensitive now.
Big time. For sure.
Yeah.
Sensitive, drinking wine
and 9.2% beer. Holy hell! It's like
still rocking it. Old man's rocking it.
Get your key out and shotgun that and get the party started.
It'll get you drunk.
Oh, my liver's just hurting listening to you guys. Oh my God.
What is this is 5%, good old 5%, Molson Canadian style, like
5.
Not enough.
Yeah, that's 2, and that's a tall boy too. So
yes, it is.
See you on the other side.
There we go.
I don't like.
Hey, so who's kicking off? Who's kicking off CanRock here? Who's leading it?
Well, maybe we should start with a very quick history. I guess for the prior to the 70s, there really wasn't any sort of a music industry in Canada at all. For the most part, it was very looked down upon as a second-rate, very amateurish art form, I guess, at the time. And if you weren't an artist from the States, there was no way anyone would even think of listening to you. And then it came down to, what was the date here? I think it was about 1970, where there was a series of laws and measures to protect Canadian culture from being overrun by outside forces, and it was called CanCon, which is Canadian content. So it's basically radio and television were forced to have a quota of minimum of 30%, no less than 30% of Canadian content, and that included anything that was the artists, the recording. There had to be Canadians involved in it. So it was kind of pushed through just to sort of save that portion of our culture, I guess. And it's something that's been done in many other countries as well, to different extents. But yeah, this didn't kick in for us in Canada till about 1970.
Still going on today?
Yes, it's still an ongoing thing. Which is, things have changed too. I mean, for the most part, you don't have a lot of Canadian broadcasting, radio stations and television that are Canadian only. I mean, everything's switched to streaming and podcasts and whatnot. So I guess the restrictions are quite a bit different now, but for the most part, it's still in effect.
Well, Canada's got some pretty big pop stars right now too, right? Like
loads.
They do, and that's because of CanCon.
Yeah, like I think of like Drake, I think of Weeknd, I think of Bieber, I think of Shawn Mendes. Like all these guys are big everywhere else, and so I'm just thinking, it's easier for them to get their Canadian content now, and maybe in the 90s, and probably in the 80s, but before that, it was like I think a wasteland.
It total wasteland, and you think if you were any sort of a talented artist, the only way that you could make it was by going down to the States and trying to do your thing. Like you look at Neil Young or Leonard Cohen, there's no way they could have made any sort of a career up in Canada. But you get down there and you look at cats like Neil Young that snuck down into the States illegally to push his career and try and get something. I mean, it was a completely different world, right? And without the whole CanCon, I mean, even when that kicked off, it wasn't taken very well because most Canadian artists, the product was poorly produced and no one had funding, and there was a reason why it was shunned for the most part, right? So, and I found too that they talked about around that time when CanCon first kicked off, nobody wanted to listen to any of it. They didn't want it on the radio because it was so low quality, but the radio stations still had to do their quota. So they ended up having, taking their 30%, I don't know if it was an hour or whatever, and they dedicated it, or they put it on around 1 in the morning, and they ended up calling it the Beaver Hour just so they can cram everything in and get it out of the way. So no one, they had to hit their quota, but they didn't specify what time they had to, right?
Just rush from 12 till 1 straight.
They weren't even there yet, man.
Yeah.
Followed by Anne Murray.
Yeah.
I like Rush. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah. What about Rush? What was that? He was talking about, what about having a little bit of variety? Rush is variety.
Yeah.
Dane, did you see Geddy Lee's book there, The Beautiful Book of Bass?
No, I did not. He's got a book?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I checked it out. It was just on display at the local bookstore, and it was open. So I just kind of thumbed through it, and it's got some pretty neat stuff in there. You should check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. I read Neil Peart. I read his book.
Oh, yeah.
Ghost.
How was that?
It was really interesting. It wasn't about Rush at all. It was a book called Ghost Rider, and his wife and daughter died super unfortunately, very close together around the same time. And he just hopped on his motorbike and just fucking drove. He didn't even know where he was going. He just rode his bike into like South America and just like wrote about the whole sort of experience of like processing what had happened. His life changed, and it was a pretty good read.
That sounds
super duper, but like no Rush stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Rush too. I've always liked Rush. I don't know what it is, but I got into them like when I was like kind of 19, 20 for the first time. And I mean, obviously I listened to lots of stuff when I was a kid, but I didn't really, pay much attention to it, I don't think. So I kind of got more respect for it and dove into it then. And I had that like Chronicle double CD that I listened to like nonstop for a long time. And then I got Moving Pictures and I listened to that for a really long time. And then I listened to 2112 for a really long time. It was just like I kind of went through all of them, and I not all of them, I shouldn't say that, but like not the later ones or anything. But yeah. So I've always liked Rush. And I think that they probably saved, Canadian radio in a lot of ways there too, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much was on there other than what we just mentioned and like Rock and Ronnie Hawkins. Like there's not much else out there, right? And I don't know why that was.
You still have BTO and bands like that were,
well, yeah,
massive.
like later
they got exposure. It wasn't that long. Like it was still in the same pocket, right?
Rush was great because like, and I'm with you, Mike, where I remember being a kid and kind of laughing at them because like, let's face it, Geddy Lee sounds like a wizard, and like it's
looks like one.
It's weird. It's weird stuff. And then you get older and you get kind of a palate for music. And the great thing about Rush is they weren't trying to sound like an American band, like all these other like outfits. They had this like progginess to them, this different, crazy, prog, like outer world kind of vibe to them, which was interesting. Like when I was a little bit older and able to like, listen to a full song without like making a stupid joke about it. That's what I really, that's what I think about Rush as far as like being different and being Canadian in that way as well. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never really got into them. I heard all the radio songs, and then I tried to dabble in the deeper cuts, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't have the attention span for it at the time. I do respect the musicianship, but it was, even till today, it's a little hard for me to sit down and or just have it all in the background. It just, I don't know.
And then
you got to be in the mood. You got to be, got to be in the right frame of mind for it, for sure. Like it's not something you probably
I'm still looking for
day.
the time that it's a mood. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And then you're looking over your shoulder to see if there's anyone around watching you, like, listen to Rush.
I'm getting too old for that to care about that crap. Going back to the last one, just getting too old.
But yeah, I remember being super little, and the guys on the radio were making fun of Rush. They're just like, yeah, what are these guys doing playing like my son's like hockey team tournament party or something like that? And I remember like, oh my God, the DJs are making fun of Rush.
Because that's all they got to play, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Okay, so what are we just going to throw out some bands that we can just throw on the table and see what we can all discuss on those?
Yeah, we can do that. Do you want to start sort of 70s and move your way up, or do you just want to jump around?
I'm okay with jumping around.
Okay, let's jump around.
Yeah. Can I just ask, have either of you, because I have not, have either of you gotten into Gordon Lightfoot?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he kind of pops up on all these like Canadian icon things, and I have a few of his like records. They came in with a bunch of like other ones that I had together in one group, and I kept them, but I haven't never put them on. So I don't know. I wanted to ask if you guys have ever listened to them or checked them out.
I've attempted a few times, but it's like a lot of Canadian content from a certain time where it's very Canadian themed, like all the lyrics and all the stories and all, like it's true, down to earth, small town Ontario, small town Saskatchewan kind of thing. And I've never had a connection to that, so
Right. Okay.
not really. I mean, other than like we going back to our hip episode. I mean, other than something like that, listen to the Hip by Campfire. For the most part, it's I haven't had a reason to listen to it. It just doesn't connect with me, I guess.
Got it.
That's interesting that you say that, though, because I mean, Canada is a vast country, right? And we are quite isolated, or like not isolated, but segregated from province to province, and even within provinces, right? And so, like, if Gordon Lightfoot's singing about something that I don't have any like attachment to or no reference to, then yeah, obviously there it's hard to get a connection there. But I wonder if that is like true for a lot of these bands, especially back in that era when there's like no internet and like you're not hopping on like the Canada Rail and like going to town. Like if someone's singing about St. John's, Newfoundland, like you might want to listen to it, but chances are if you don't live there, you might just think it's kind of like odd.
Well, it's tough though, because for the most part, Canada is very super multicultural, and it's not like other countries when you look at like a Scotland or where they have these old roots, or Ireland, and you have these connections and these old cultures that have gone back hundreds of years, thousands of years, where you have a certain kind of music and you have a certain kind of culture, where Canada doesn't really have a culture. It's just this giant melting pot of everybody that showed up from whatever country they showed up, right? So I think for us, we've had too many influences thrown at us, and too many different cultural angles thrown at us from a young age, that we haven't had a connection, a direct, deep connection with Canadiana culture, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. I still think that's true today.
Or that's what that is. Like that's what that's made up of, right? Like all of that. So like all those things that you got thrown at you, all those different kind of influences, that's what Canada is, kind of thing, right? Like rolled into one. Maybe that's what that is, but I don't know. I just don't think it got much respect, right? Kind of like what you said at the beginning there. It just didn't, even it was kind of slightly comical when I was a kid too, right? Like when younger, there wasn't a lot that I could think of, and maybe there was more that I was not aware of, probably, but it didn't really start getting good until the 70s,
right?
And then kind of took off from there. And then when you kind of look at all the different bands, 70s, 80s, 90s, even past then too, right? Like there's still quite a few.
Well, that's where that CanCon comes in again, where now it forces a certain section of Canadian music into your daily listening, and it gave a lot of Canadians at that time something to jump aboard and follow, because it's you can have a little bit of pride because they came from wherever Canada, right? So and when you start listening to a lot of it, and it comes into the late 70s and the 80s, and then all the way into the 90s, and you've got all these bands, it's like, okay, well, before these Canadian bands didn't stand up, they couldn't hold up to American bands or that kind of a deal. And then you get to a certain point where they're just as good, if not better, in certain angles, and they can hang, right? So I think that was another big thing where it's you find something that you can catch on to, and you want to pursue it, so, and get excited for it, right?
And there's lots of Canadian bands that I really like. I have quite a few on the list that, I went through, and there's lots on there.
Well, I was just amazed digging through that at how many bands that I know, and I know their music, and for whatever reason, I didn't know they were Canadian.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton on this, on the list that I have here. It's like they were Canadian, or, or part members were from Canada or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool finding that out, actually. I like that. When I find out somebody's from Canada like that. Yeah. I'm gonna throw a curveball at you guys right now for my first band. Then for my choice. Do you guys remember Slick Toxic?
The name's familiar, but I could not name a song.
Oh, wait a second.
White Lies, Black Truth was their big hit in 1992. 1992, and from their album Doing the Nasty.
Whoa. I kind of look at how they spell it. Slick Talks.
S.
Fuck. They don't know how to spell.
SLIK.
But they know how to rock.
Toxic.
What are they, a 90s? What are they, a 90s new metal band? 2000s new metal band?
Hair metal, man. Yeah. This looks like
misspelling.
Lies, Black Truth. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. If you haven't gone back and listened to that track, go check it out.
I do remember these guys on Much Music. I remember. Yeah.
They won Juno for Best Rock Act of the Year in 93.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 94, man.
No.
Everything 94.
I was close. Yeah, it was close. But yeah, no, they're 92. They kind of had almost like a Ugly Kid Joe kind of sound to them, like a little bit of a growl. Check it out. I wanted to throw that one out there because I'm like, I'm just gonna start with some Slick Toxic.
Yeah, let's find some hidden,
absolutely
some obscure stuff.
So there you go,
funny?
All you Slick Toxic fans out there.
Wow.
Good one.
Okay. I've got more of a question than like one that maybe we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but I saw Die Mannequin on there, and I was like, I remember that name. So then I did a quick Google search, and like some of the band members look familiar, but I don't recognize the music at all. Like, what was Die Mannequin all about? You don't recall? Okay.
I saw that on the list too, but I have no idea what that is. The same thing. I had heard the name before, but I have no background on them.
Okay. And just for anyone who's listening, there's a list that I found called aforeverquest.com. I think that's the name of this dude's like blog. And it's a guide to forgotten Canadian, I think alternative music.
It was kind of cool how he broke it down in tiers.
Yeah. Like,
that was pretty neat.
There was a band on there that I swear I've seen too, and I cannot remember where I've seen them. But do you guys remember By Divine Right?
That name is very familiar.
Totally.
Did we see those guys?
I think so.
Where?
We probably saw them at Sidetrack or something.
Yeah, most definitely. They were around. They were like early 2000s.
I think so, yeah. I looked at their video and I saw the lead singer and he looks really familiar, like I've seen him before. But yeah, I saw that on that list. I saw it By Divine Right, and it just triggered something in my mind. I went in there and I think like opened up for somebody maybe or something.
Yeah,
like
most
that.
definitely. That sounds like a band that opened up for like Big Sugar or something like that.
Yeah, the Tragically Hip.
Yeah, I think actually that sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure they have opened up for Tragically Hip at one point.
Maybe that's where we saw them. I don't know. Anyways, that was another band on there, By Divine Right. Yeah, sorry.
Cool. Yeah, totally forgot about them.
1999.
There you go. Yeah.
stuck around for a while, then slowly went away. Then 10 years later, there was a comeback. They had us.
I like his
They had
description.
a song a few years back called "Past the Stars." They went away, then they came back, then they went away again,
And nobody noticed.
Yeah.
Or cared.
Okay, just wait. Okay, so can I just throw one in there real quick that popped up?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's so many here. Okay, let's go with Biff Naked. Whatever happened to her?
Yeah.
I was just listening to a one of those whatever happened to episodes of ongoing history of new music.
Awesome.
And yeah, and she got, what happened to her? So
I think she had cancer.
She had cancer and she had to shut things down. But prior to that, I mean, she had her first album that went pretty big, and then was Ibificus her first one or was it her second? I think it was her first, and that kind of launched her into some sort of American popularity where she was dealing with big acts like who the hell was she with? I think for some reason I'm thinking Snoop Dogg did something with her, and there were a couple other big rock bands that did some stuff with her for a little while there. And then I guess she got cancer and sort of disappeared, and then now I think she's living in Toronto doing a bunch of artsy stuff from what I heard. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I love myself today, not like yesterday. I'm cool. I'm calm. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. And you think that was a pretty like strong time for even women in rock during that time as well, right? Like there was quite a few.
No doubt.
Yeah, there's lots, right? Hole. Yeah. There's tons, but yeah, Biff Naked. I think I saw her at Edge Fest. I think I saw her one time.
I think I did too.
Definitely saw her twice.
Twice, did you? Yeah.
That's
I think one of the Bear Fest things and the.
Oh, maybe that. Something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the great thing about this sort of. I'm sure it kind of falls under CanCon. Was it like live shows as well? Was there like a content requirement for live music, or was it just radio play?
It was just radio play, but it grew into that. So once people got, caught on that there was Canadian talent, then the more audience pursued it, the more need there was for big shows, right? So
because we could mention a Canadian artist that was around when we were younger and going to shows, and it's like, oh yeah, I saw them 3 times. That's the great part about that, right? Yep. Like
because they did the Canadian circuit, They did the circuit over and over and over again.
And it was usually like the venues that we could afford.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sure. But then it also comes to where they became huge in Canada, but it was still a huge challenge to break in the States. You going back to our Tragically Hip episode where they were massive in Canada and sold out every show, multiple nights, big tours. And then they go across the border to the States and they're playing to the bartender and the other band and their girlfriends, right? No one knew who they were, or, it's just the smallest little venues. It's kind of weird, the just getting across the border. So, you can be selling out huge stadiums and coliseums or arenas in Toronto, and then go down to Buffalo and be playing to nobody, kind of thing, like that close.
But there's even like I think of even a band like the Bare Naked Ladies that were just huge in Canada for such a long time, and then got to the States and then were even bigger, and they just exploded down there, and and that's not rare, or that's not often that happens, right? I think that's pretty rare, but still,
they just hit that one note that flung them over.
Yeah, like what? Yeah,
that was
crazy.
A funny thing.
Well, it's just like Bryan Adams too, and whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, even
Neil Young,
Bare Naked Ladies were not even like they were a real band, but they were kind of like a joke band.
They started off as a joke They were a joke
Yeah.
busking band, and then they had a couple big songs that just blew up. So
Yeah.
the talent was there. There was no reason why they
Oh,
shouldn't
for
have
sure.
made it, but it was just kind of just the angle that they started being a joke busk kind of a band, and that's another one of those bands where I always think of the quote where it takes 10 years to be an overnight success, and it was kind of like that for them, right?
Yeah.
So they fought through the different levels for a decade, and then all of a sudden one song hits, and it was like, well, where have you been? You guys are amazing. Well, it's taken us 10 years to get this overnight explosion,
Yeah.
right?
And now they got like Big Bang Theory checks rolling in for the theme song for the next like 80 years of syndication. It'll
Really?
just be-
They did.
Yeah. Hopefully they got the right
Did
deal on it.
Steve?
they must have. I don't know.
I wonder if
but
Steve got a piece of that pie.
That'll just be going in infinity
Yep.
forever. Okay, Mike, what do you got? What's your band?
Well, I'm gonna kick out 3 80s. Well, one's a early 90s, but one of them is the Headpins.
Oh yeah.
Don't it make you feel like dancing? That track.
Whoa.
Yeah.
one.
So that album went. It was a double platinum debut album, and
And
they only
P.S.
had
she
a handful
lives
of
in
songs,
Mike's-
but
She lives in
does.
Mike's Town.
Yeah, I'm. She lives just up the hill from me. I'm
Oh,
basically.
yeah, that's right.
I'm a block over from being her mailman. So yeah, Darby Mills.
Good one.
Yeah,
And how
she's
she
right
sound
there.
these days? Have you seen her lately?
I actually went down to a park by the lake, and they've got they've got a venue there where they do weddings and stuff, just a hall that you can rent. So I went down there and was hanging out with the family, and all of a sudden I hear music coming out of this hall, and then I hear someone that sounds like Darby Mills. I'm like, no way. So I run over and just poke my head in there, and there's Darby Mills doing a warm up with these musicians that were amazing. And yeah, so she rips it, and her voice is almost exactly the same as it was in the 80s. And then she ends up ducking out because it was just kind of a pre-wedding warm-up gig, or portion of it. And it was really cool because the musicians were so top-notch that everybody left the stage except for a guy that was playing piano. I don't know, I think he was playing bass or something. He drops the bass and he goes and sits on the piano, and he starts playing and singing some Elton John stuff, and it was unreal.
Wow.
So just the amount, the quality of musicianship in this small little obscure hall in small town, whatever. And it was pretty cool. So, but yeah, she's still got the pipes, and she still crushes it. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So I got that one, and then there's one band that I don't know why I never knew they were Canadian, but Men with Hats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Safety Dance.
No way. Wake and
Yeah.
dance. Wake and dance.
Yep, with the little midget dancing and running and skipping with them. I always think of that Pauly Shore movie Biodome. Every
Yeah,
time
exactly.
I think of Men with Hats. Yeah.
Huh.
So, and the other one is Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh.
There's only one song that I've ever known of theirs, but it's I'm an Adult Now from 1986.
I'm an adult
Yeah,
now. Right. I got the problems.
I always thought
now.
that was an American band, but yep.
Oh, they're totally Canadian.
I've never seen. Today was the first, or last night was the first time I saw their video.
Right.
So prior to that, I had no idea.
Did they do She Ain't Pretty, She Just Looks That Way? Oh, okay.
No, that was
Northern
Right,
Pikes,
Northern
baby.
Pikes.
Northern Pikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the another band that I was going to throw out there, Northern Pikes, for Teenland.
Teenland, yeah. That was their two hits right there.
Yep.
They didn't have much else other than that, but
No.
Great name.
oh yeah. Yeah, those are three that I kind of forgot about too, actually. I'll bring that one up later. I liked. I gotta ask Dane a couple questions, but I'll do that one later. I liked Max Webster when I was a kid.
Fuck yeah,
I listened to a lot of Max
Webster and Kim Mitchell.
Yeah, like I listened to both, and my dad listened to. He had a bunch of, I shouldn't say a bunch, probably 2 Max Webster albums, and the one where he's on the front with the leotard and kicking it out like just him. You know the one I'm talking about, but yeah, like that's the one that's got Battle Scar on it. But anyways, I used to, I still do though. Even I threw it on again because I forgot about them, and I still like it. I still like that stuff, and I think Kim Mitchell's an underrated guitar player. I think he's
unreal.
Yeah, I don't think he got the cred that he deserved on that instrument, because even that band is pretty out there in a lot of ways when you listen to some of their stuff. But the Kim Mitchell solo stuff's a little more straightforward, a little more poppy, and
might as well go for a soda.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, patio lanterns, stuff like that, right? That's pretty safe. But the Max Webster stuff's a little more almost proggy, So, anyways, Max Webster is my pick.
Nice. I'll have to give that one a listen to. Max Webster was before he went solo, obviously, or was it the other way around? Okay.
No, before.
Yeah. I remember, I think one of my uncles had a poster, or someone back in the day had a poster of Max Webster. I was so confused because I knew it was Kim Mitchell, but it said Max Webster on it. And I was like, is Kim Mitchell his stage name? Like, what? I was so confused for years.
Yeah.
All right. Good pick.
Thank you very much.
So how about for opening bands? Can you name any sort of opening Canadian bands that stood out in your concert going years? Say you went to see a larger American act, but there was a Canadian band opening that kicked it.
I don't know, man. That's I gotta go back in the Rolodex on that.
Have we ever talked about Nardwuar?
We have not talked about Nardwuar, but we probably should, because that was an institution of much music in that time.
Yeah. So who did he open up for, Mike? We went to go see.
Well, it was his band.
No, we went to go see Sloan. I think they opened up for Sloan. And it was Nardwuar and the Plasta. He had a.
It was like the filters or the replacements or something like that.
It was like plastis.
You can tell that story. I'll Google it while you're telling the story.
Not much to tell, but I remember booing him like super loud.
Well, the thing was though is that no, you didn't boo him. It was like the most perfect moment in like the break in music, where it was like they were done, and then all you heard was Dane, and Dane was like, "You guys fucking suck." And it was just all you could hear in the entire. This is a Dinwoody Lounge, and he's sitting out to the side, and it was just like clear as a bell. Nobody was clapping, nothing. It was just silent, and it was just Dane's voice. Oh, it was classic.
Okay. Sounds like
the evaporators. The evaporators.
Fuck, it was bad. Yeah, that guy.
That hat. Wow.
Yep.
Nardwuar. I guess he's still going.
Is he?
He's got some sort of YouTube interview channel now where he's still interviewing bands. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. I didn't pursue his band at all, but the show, his interviews were always fun. I keep keep going back to every once in a while. The interview that he did with Gwar. It's pretty funny. If you can search it out there, it's pretty hilarious. So.
Gwar. I'd like to
So
see Gwar.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Be a fun time.
Yeah, I've seen, most of the concerts that I can find on the interwebs there, but yeah, it'd be killer to actually be in that space. So
yeah, it would get some Gwar blood on you.
A little bit of Gwar, a lot of Gwar blood.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna throw out, and I know you, Flip, you don't like them at all, or you've had issues with parts of their songs, but Wide Mouth Mason. Wide Mouth Mason. No, we'll get to Moist later.
Okay.
So I pardon?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh. So I got I think it was about 90, what was it? 97 maybe? 96, 97. I got tickets for ZZ Top. And I was wicked stoked for that show because I've always been a ZZ Top Billy Gibbons fan. So yeah, we get to the show and we've got floor. It's when they still kind of had seats. One of those kind of shows where they had seats set up. So there was rows of seats, and then there was the, I don't know, probably 20 plus feet of just standing space at the front right by the stage. So I get there and just bolt and start jumping over chairs and get right to the front as close as I can. And I was probably maybe 5 feet from Billy Gibbons when he came on, but the opening band, who I had never heard of at the time, was Wide Mouth Mason, and I thought they were wicked talented. And the guitar player, his voice was cool, but his just his, he had a unique blues guitar style, which I thought was pretty cool. So
I don't hate that band. Like I don't know. They lacked a certain something to them. I don't know.
Yeah.
They were talented, and the guy was a great guitar player. And I saw him a couple times too. I saw him at Reds. I saw him at K-Days one year.
Yep.
Couple others, maybe one other time. And I don't deny the talent there. I don't know. They were just missing something for me. It wasn't. I don't know.
They were more of a live band than an album band, I guess.
It feels like it. Yeah, I don't know. And past that first album, I didn't really find anything too life-changing, I guess.
Yeah, but it was definitely the first album that I only delved in. But live-wise, they were really good.
They were, totally. Yes.
Yeah.
Who's up? Dan, you're up.
Okay.
Tag.
I'm trying to stay away from this list because I had a few that I really wanted to talk about, but I guess one that I've always sort of had a soft spot for, and I checked them on Wikipedia today, and you would not believe how long the list of past members is. Like you scroll and scroll and scroll, and you're like, what the fuck?
There's only one original.
What happened? Yeah, Big Sugar, and I loved them when they came out because they had a real kind of, I don't know, how would you define their music? It's not.
It's reggae blues, I guess, was the bulk of the influence.
Yeah,
of
they
it,
were.
right?
I guess they were more blues when they first came out, but it was kind of a rocky blues type of thing, which was whatever interesting. And then the
fuzz guitars and harmonicas, and their bass player was Jamaican, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I didn't know, but unfortunately, he passed away in 2018.
Did he really?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, pretty sad.
And he was a big part of the band as far as their live shows. I loved going to see them, and I feel bad. I don't remember the bass player's name. I think it starts.
Gary.
Is it Gary?
Gary Lowe, I think.
Yeah. And he would just be grooving and doing his head nod thing with these dreads going everywhere, and it was just a a real interesting look, and holy fuck, the loudest band I have ever experienced and they just like, I don't know what they did, but it was clear as a bell. But just like your ears rang for like a good week afterwards. I couldn't believe how loud they were. Like they did a show at the convention center, I think, and it was great. But I just remember, I think you were with me, Mike. Whoever was with me, I remember turning to them and I was like,
"Yeah, this is we were talking about this show because Mike was at this one too. This is the one with Government Mule.
Government Mule. Yeah, exactly.
Unreal.
Yeah, I love Big Sugar too. I remember the first time I saw them too. I saw them in the Rev, the Starlight Room or whatever, downtown there.
Yeah.
And they opened up like, you know how they had the back there with Lush was behind there, and all of a sudden like the lights go out and then you just hear this like engine revving to the max and it's just the loudest thing you've ever heard, and all of a sudden that Dodge Challenger is on the stage but like behind.
Wicked.
Yeah, and it just is just roaring, and who gets out, you know who gets out of there, right? Like and I was like, oh, this is the greatest band ever, man. Yeah, it just blew my mind then. And then, saw him a couple other times. And then I saw him not that long ago, right before I left Edmonton. And they were playing down at the, I don't know, Devon, somewhere like that. And they were good. They were excellent. And it was a good venue to see them in, too. So, but
I guess Gordy Johnson had to shut things down for a couple of years. He ended up having some issues. I don't know if it was nerve damage in his hands. For far too many years, he played with very, very heavy gauge guitar strings, so like 13 gauge kind of thing.
Yeah.
And just the battling with that, it messed up his arm for quite a while, so he had to do a little bit of rehab for it. But I think what was their hiatus? They were probably gone for 6-8 years, weren't they?
A long time.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'll never forget. I just moved back to Canada, and we had a moving van just full of our stuff. And that was it. That's all we had was just like the moving van full of stuff. Had the two animals kind of in between us, and we're driving through Jasper. And like, I hadn't really heard Canadian music in a really long time. And that, like a Heaven in Alberta song came on.
Yep.
And I like teared up. Like, it was crazy. It was like, I totally forgot about this band. Heaven in Alberta? Is that the name of it?
Yeah. And Hell for a Basement, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And like, I hadn't heard any kind of like, even just like rock like that. I hadn't heard it in a very long time. And just like, you know, the whole Heaven in Alberta thing, I just like teared up a little bit. But anyway, so so I checked their Wikipedia page, and I can't believe, like, what's his name? Is it Gordy? It's Gordy Johnson.
Gordy Johnson. Yeah.
Mike, do you remember meeting him? You had like backstage tickets from.
Yeah, no,
you snuck backstage.
Maybe
didn't you?
Did sneak back, or I don't know how we got.
Yeah,
backstage.
we all went to that show, and it wasn't big. Sugar. It was his solo one, wasn't it?
No, it was Double Trouble. And
Trouble. So he was
there.
Double Trouble was backing him up. So Steve Ray Vaughan's backup band, Double Trouble, was backing him up at the time. We had all gone to the show. Yep, it was one of those things where it was like he refused to come on stage until the sound guy put it on being as loud as possible. Diva. Yeah. Totally. And we all got there and we were hanging out, and then just a blink, you guys were gone. I had no fucking clue where you went. And then later on you said that you guys went out for a smoke, and he was out there, wasn't it?
Something like that.
He was out there, yeah.
You snuck backstage.
And like, he was wearing gloves, and like,
we knew it so well. We had
like waiter gloves.
We knew that place. Yeah, they were like leather gloves
Right.
almost.
Yeah,
like,
it was just like, okay, this guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then was Colin James there, or am I just making that up?
That was a different night.
Because I remember meeting Colin James at one point. But it wasn't that show. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
That's,
no,
that's
Big
another
Sugar's a good
cat
pick.
that. Well, that's another cat, Colin James. I mean, he's another one of those underrated, should have been bigger Canadian artists that. I mean, he jumped around quite a bit genre-wise from his 80s rock to his solo blues, or his blues stuff, to his swing albums, to his he's kind of covered a lot of ground with that. But I think he should have got much bigger.
His band was the Hellcats, right? Wasn't he in a band called the Hellcats? It was like a rockabilly band.
What was it called?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Hellcats. Well, once again, like he had a couple. I don't recall him ever doing rockabilly though.
Oh, what? He's like a big rockabilly guy.
Mostly blues rock with him. So like he was big blues guy.
I saw him a couple times. He was
I saw
him
a couple times too. I saw his big band show.
Yeah.
What was that venue that we saw him at? Winspear?
Winspear Center. Yeah, I was in that show.
Was it Winspear? Yeah, that was a really good one.
He was walking through the aisles.
That was one of those few venues where you could actually hear a pin drop. The acoustics were so well designed in there.
That's right. That was the guy, the opening band when he did that, and I think it was the first time I was ever in that venue, and it was the first demonstration of it. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, because you've got Colin James, and then you have Jeff Healey was the other guy that was.
Was he Canadian?
He was Canadian.
No way.
I love Jeff Healey, man.
Jeff Healey, blind blues phenom for the he was self-taught, and he learned to play guitar with it laying down on his lap like a lap steel guitar.
Was in the movie Roadhouse,
and he was
Classic.
in Roadhouse. Yep.
That's where I learned about him for the first time was Roadhouse. I didn't know about him before that.
Yeah, well, I was fortunate enough to see him before he passed, and the show that I saw him, he had a backup guitar player named Philip Sace, and he's another one of these over the top, unique, brilliant blues guitarists that should have got bigger. He's catching ground slowly now, but I mean you're looking 20 plus years after where he's starting to catch a bit of a wave, but he's unreal even till today. His playing is unreal and his gear is wicked vintage. Just super cool.
I don't know what it is about blues. It's like that's a tough nut to crack. It's good, and I think blues is a genre of music that musicians obviously like and gravitate towards. But as far as pop music, like you take a look at, so John Mayer is a good example. Excellent blues musician, but he's not known for his blues music. He's known for his poppy shit, which I don't mind. But I think like as far as like breaking it, that's a tough one as far as like being in a blues band or trying to be like a blues musician.
In the grand scheme of things, yes, but when you come down to the niche market of it, where these blues fans, quite like country fans, are some of the few groups that still buy music and still support artists. So even if you haven't heard of so and so blues guy or so and so country band, in that circle, they're arena artists.
Yeah,
which is pretty rad.
Like even like a Joe Bonamassa, right? Like Joe Bonamassa.
Nobody knows him, but everyone knows him, and he's making hundreds of millions of dollars playing everywhere. But I couldn't name one song.
Neither could I, man.
I couldn't.
My dad bought a live concert It was the first one that I had ever experienced a live
Remote
online concert.
Streaming,
So he gave me the link to it, and we were watching it together. And yeah, like he was playing this place in Nashville to just cardboard cutouts. And it was just the weirdest thing because they would end the song and it was just complete silence, right? And it was just kind of like watching a band rehearsal almost. But anyways, I didn't know much about, any of those songs, but like it was pretty fun watching the guy. Like he's pretty
Super
good
professional, and he's unreal. He was one of these prodigy kids. So when he was I want to say like 13 to 18, he was this massive prodigy phenom. He played with B.B. King, he played with Buddy Guy, he played with, I want to say, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like he was playing with the best of the best blues guys as a child. And then as soon as there was one story an interview he was talking about where, you can be one of the greatest prodigies in the world, but as soon as you turn 18, you got to get to the back of the food line there to try and prove yourself again. So, and he was able to take that and push it to another level where he's able to sell out back-to-back stadium shows and huge venues. And for the most part, nobody knows him in main culture, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And that kind of spins off into another guy, Hawksley Workman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's another cat that Canadian that I've never known much about, and I always heard maybe 2 of his songs and didn't think much of it, but my wife is a huge Hawksley Workman fan, and she's opened me up to a lot of it, and he's super creative, and he's a very, very unique artist, and I've grown to dig a lot of his stuff.
He was at the Folk Fest one year in Edmonton, or one of those festivals. I saw him, but I didn't pay much attention to him because I didn't know anything about him. Mm-hmm. But I just remember he was at one of those shows. But I only know that one song, like the cigarette song. That's the only song, and I don't even know. Yeah. It's the only one I know about. Yeah.
Yep. He's got some really good stuff. If you get a chance, dig into it. I think you'll grab it pretty good. So.
Yeah, I'm always looking for something.
Mm-hmm. How about maybe we can shoot this to Dane and do a quick little no means no. Touches back because I've been doing I've been getting back on my sort of 90s punk thing the past week or two here. I usually go through these really solid waves for a couple times a year, and it's been a lot of No Means No. It's been a lot of Propaganda.
Oh yeah.
Which is another massive band that massively influential band of the early 90s. How they were big, or the Winnipeg, I think they were from, and they ended up getting hooked up with Fat Records and just being this massively influential band to everybody that in that genre that followed them. And I always thought that was amazing.
Political band.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember listening to them in university, and
so good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. You want me to say some stuff about No Means No, or
why not? Why not? I mean, it's we can touch a base on it or whatever you want to do. So.
Let me think of something. Okay, wait. Okay, so my uncle Dave listened to the No Means No podcast, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He's super stoked about it. He's sending me stuff on Facebook, No Means No, track lists and all this stuff. So he was like, because he was the biggest No Means No fan ever. And obviously he got me onto them. And so just maybe a quick recap, very bass focused, I guess 3-member trio, kind of punk rock band with sort of proggy jazz undertones to it. And I was looking at today a band called Death from Above. I think they were called Death from Above 1979.
1979.
Yeah. Also very bass focused. In fact, I think they're only like a bass, like a heavily distorted bass and drums, right?
Bass and drums.
And they got some traction in like before 2010, I think. And fun stuff, fun rocky stuff. And I'm not sure if both guys are, but I know one of the guys is Canadian. And now I'm just gonna jump around like fucking House of Pain here. Jump around. That one dude who's Canadian, who's in Death from Above, is in another band called Mastercraft, which isn't really a band. It's like two dudes and two Apple like MacBooks, and they just stand there pressing like the play button and look cool.
That's a band today, right? Come see my laptop live.
But a super fun show. Super fun show. And I guess like tying it all together with like No Means No being super bass focused, 1979 being only bass. And then there was another band called Whitey Houston. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was the drummer from Shout Out Out, who I've actually met. Gravy. He's a fun guy. And
cool.
Anyway, he was in a band called Whitey Houston, which I loved. I saw them open up for I forget. But anyway, bass and drums, and that was it. And just like I really, for some reason, and okay, last podcast we were talking about guilty pleasures, and I mentioned Typo Negative. Again, like heavily bass focused. And so that's my No Means No bit.
If you want more information, go back to our No Means No.
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. They're great. I had a lot to say. I'd just be repeating myself. So thanks for putting me on the spot. That's what you get. A fucking discombobulated answer. But so Death from Above, I don't know what happened to them. They seemed like quite big. Like they were successful in the States, were they not? Like I remember them on the radio.
I think they had one hit type deal. But I think with that whole setup, there may have been too many bands that came out in that style where it was just a bass guitar player and a drummer. Like Royal Blood.
Are they? No.
Royal Blood, yep.
Yeah, not Canadian, but it's just a two-piece
really?
bass and drum.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay, Dane, I got to ask you about this band because I looked them up on Spotify and I couldn't believe it. I found them, and then they have a Facebook page and everything else. Okay, do you remember Neo A4?
Oh yeah. Are they still going? Are they still doing it?
There's a very recent picture on Facebook on 2018 with John Tidswell.
Yeah, Mr. John Tidswell.
Yeah. So, okay, this is the other question I had for you though, because I don't even know. He was a substitute band teacher, Mike. And we found out that he was in this band called Neo A4. And they were a Canadian band. We're talking like late 80s kind of thing, 1988, like right around that time. So anyways, we found out. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, we found their tape, I think, in like a cash converters or like something like that. And we're like, oh, sounds Neo A4. Right. Yeah, it's awesome, right? So, and, this guy, I don't know. I don't really remember much about him, but I remember, like, I don't think a lot of kids liked him. It was kind of one of those guys. I think he got made fun of, maybe. But anyways, it's very, you should listen to it again because they got one hit on there. It's got about 7,000 streams on it on Spotify. They're a big hit. But it's kind of funny because they had this big hit, And then they had another album, and there's like none of those songs on there even have broken 1,000, and then they're gone. It's just like
That's how it usually works.
Oh yeah, it dropped right off the face of the earth. So, anyways, you should look him up there, Neo A4, and just check it out. But then, okay, were we playing in Think Not Think, or were we playing in another band when we saw him and he was tending the bar? Remember in that place we were playing in that basement? Excuse me, it was like in a basement venue. And we saw him, and he was tending the bar, and we were like, "Is that Mr. Tidswell?" And it was. Remember, he was.
Hold on.
He was slinging drinks
At the
Well, the only basement bar we ever played was that Riola's.
basement bar. Where
Oh, I can't even tell you.
was it?
Can't
The
even
one
tell you.
by
I thought I
Grant
was hoping you were gonna
McEwen?
remember
The
it.
moon something.
No, that's what Mike's talking about. Mike's talking about
Yeah.
Riola's. This is like,
Yeah.
I don't know. If you can't remember it, then I won't remember it. I thought maybe you. We saw him later on, though. Do you remember? Do you remember running into him later?
No, man.
Maybe it was. Maybe you weren't with me. I don't know. But yeah, I could have sworn we were playing there. Maybe we were just there for a drink. I don't know. Anyway,
Basement bar, like on White Ave, or was it?
no, it was kind of seedy. Like it was not a good. It wasn't the best place, but I just remember going down to the basement, and then we were hanging out, or somebody was with me hanging out, and I saw him behind the bar, and then we made the connection that it was Mr. Tidswell, and there he was.
Did you go say hi?
Anyways, Neo A4. Yeah, we said hi.
Did he recognize you?
Yeah. He was like, "Oh yeah." He remembered.
Oh fuck,
It was
maybe.
nice and awkward.
Stop noodling.
Yeah.
That was his leg.
Yeah, that was his big thing. Stop noodling when you were just fucking around on the guitar or on the drums. That was his thing.
Yeah, good old Mr. Tidswell.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you. I wanted to check in on Neo A4, but there you go. Go check it out. If you want to see his Facebook, his picture now, he's up there.
Oh yeah. That's
And check out their big hit on Spotify.
7,000.
Get it to 8. Get it to 8.
Get it to 7,002. Come on.
oh man.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw out another one here. Are you familiar with the DeHall brothers?
Yeah.
Oh, the limb lifter.
Ryan and Kurt DeHall from Age of Electric, Limb Lifter, and Static and Stereo.
What? They're all the same?
It's bits and pieces. They all kind of switched in one after the other. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a pretty awesome run.
No doubt. I didn't even know. I think I knew Age of Electric and Limb Lifter were the same, but yeah.
Well, a limb lifter is just the two of them, right?
And a
Yes.
drummer. No?
Yeah. No, I think one of the Dahl brothers is on the drums for that, and then I think it's just guitar and drums. Like speaking of that,
those were all full like 4-piece bands, but they were in each project. There, I think Limb Lifter was the only one they were both in together, and then they spun off just into different projects. And Age of Electric and Static and Stereo came from those. So, which was pretty rad, having back-to-back solid runs with really kick-ass bands.
Yeah, wow, that's a reference. I'm just like looking on YouTube right now.
Yeah, these are bands that you every once in a while you get into these YouTube rabbit holes and you hit the early the 90s kind of a flow, and those always come up for me, and I push those really hard. So
yeah. So I think I saw those guys too. I think I saw both Age of Electric and Limb Lifter too.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, they were good. Todd Kearns was Age of Electric. Todd Kearns was the lead singer of Age of Electric, I think. I don't know where that guy is, but it feels like that guy would be a doing some producing or something like that these days.
Oh, most likely. I think pretty well all of them are. And then that kind of spins off into the I Mother Earth and Econoline Crush.
Oh, yeah.
Very similar style, but very their own thing.
I Mother Earth was fucking awesome when Edwin was with them. They were tight and they were great. They were a great live band too.
Well, one really cool thing I always dug about it was the album Dig. It was produced by Mike Klink. He's the same guy that produced GNR's Appetite for Destruction. Really? So
no way, man. No way.
Yep. That's crazy. So to get to that level so quickly, like their rise was real fast.
And I remember buying Dig at Southside Sound.
Yep.
That's where I bought my copy. I remember it, and because I saw Levitate on Much Music, and I was like,
"This is fucking
awesome!" Wow, this is just so good, and and then really loved that album through and through. And then I really like Scenery and Fish. I really love that album too. It's got it's a front to back, and if you haven't gone to there in a while, it's still good today.
Really?
Yep.
And it's super rare getting those front to back listens, so I never get sick of them.
Well, they had like such a kind of a Santana vibe to them, and I kind of got back into Santana again after I listened to I Mother Earth and got a little heavier into them too, right? Like it was just awesome, you know? But they were great live. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Edwin did his own thing.
Yeah. And that flopped on his face, and the guy never saw him again.
Apparently.
Yep. So some manager told him he was better than that, and then he just did it. So.
Dane and I met that guy at the top of the billiard club on White Ave there. Yeah. He was doing a meet and greet, and I had free passes to go, so I don't think anybody else wanted to go with me.
And he like bummed a smoke off of us.
Yeah. He was all chummy with us, so we've got a pretty funny picture. I don't know whatever happened to that picture, but
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he was doing all these photo shoots and everything, so we're like, hey, let's take a picture of us. Let's pretend we're fighting, and I'm breaking it up. So there's just this shot of Edwin trying to fight us and trying to fight Dane, and I'm just standing in the middle of them breaking it up. It was a good shot.
The fall from grace.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going through like 4 Rubbermaids full of pictures, and I bet you there's some gems in there. I'm going to go through them all, and I want to scan them all. I want them gone, but I want to keep the good ones. But there's a pile in there, and there's going to be some gems that we have never seen or have not seen in a long time. So,
or forgot because of drunkenness.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying. Sorry to interrupt there.
No.
Just talking about like that particular time, I was trying to find some bit of like documentation, photos, write-ups, blogs, anything about like the Edmonton scene in the early 2000s. I couldn't find anything. And there was somewhat of a scene there. I mean,
there wasn't much until we shut it down, and then things got big for whatever reason.
Yeah, but I mean, there was venues that had live music, right? And there were like a number of bands that were kind of frequent, like they would frequently play at Urban Lounge, Sidetrack, where else? Nights. What was the one in the south side there? Nights. Anyway,
King's Night.
King's Night.
Fox and Hound. Like there was something going on there. I couldn't find anything, and Mike. I sent you a message today, and I was like, "Do you remember that Monica chick? And like, what was the name of that website that she had? Because she was the one that was like going to all the shows, taking pictures, and she had this fucking blog. It was like Edmonton something or other, and it had
and she interviewed us that one time,
and we were like,
that was it.
But I was trying to find just like anything, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing. It's like it didn't even exist.
Yep.
There's a niche book for you there. We can all collaborate on the niche book. Maybe somebody will be interested in buying that. The lost scene of the 90s, early 2000s.
Well, we'll do the book and we'll send it to what's his name on Ongoing History.
Yeah,
Alan Cross. Yeah,
Alan Cross. We'll send it to him and he'll do an episode on
man, we could have a chapter on like B Scene Studios with fucking Todd. Remember that guy?
Todd. Oh yeah, Todd at B Scene. You betcha. I remember that guy.
Todd.
Remember that guy.
We could do a chapter on Lilo's music store on White.
Yeah.
That was like the place.
Yup.
Yeah. You can your usual Saturday spin around to Lilo's and to Mother's Music and to Long McQuaid and Avenue.
Every Saturday.
Yeah. Going through all those, right? Like it was just, and the drum shop upstairs, and that was good times. That was an awesome Saturday when you got to do that.
Yeah, definitely. But
what are you drinking now? What is that?
Well, we got a Dead Soldier down, so now we're switching to a Sleeman Wheel Dog Winter Ale.
Wheel Dog. I'm drinking a Steamworks Flagship IPA on my second round.
Boom.
Nice. I see a lot of tall boys at the of that at the liquor store. I got to pick one up again sometime. I haven't had in a while.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty standard. It's all right.
It's pretty good, eh?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else we got? Because we're at like $1.20 now. We should probably throw all of our band names on the table.
Okay, well let's toss some Big Wreck and some Headstones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
We're getting into some bigger bands right now.
Big Wreck is still around, right?
Big Wreck is definitely still around. They just put out another album last year. We saw them last year.
Last year, yeah.
Like I've seen them twice in the past 3 years.
Yeah, they were good. They were good again. That was I think it was last year.
Yeah, and they're still pumping out great music. Their last album was very bad. It was very much like a backtrack to their first. It was kind of that same kind of sound and feel, which was pretty rad. So, and when we saw them just after their rhythm guitar player passed away. I think from cancer, possibly.
Yeah.
And they had some new cat there. It was a little different feel, but it was still very kick-ass and professional, and yeah, it was awesome.
No, they're still good.
I think they're probably the Canadian band that I've seen the most live.
Yeah,
I think I've probably seen them 6 or 7
Holy
times.
Shit, that's a lot.
Yeah, but between Big Wreck and Ian Thornley's side project there, Thornley.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's 7 times between all of those. So. And
I didn't see him
brilliant.
as Thornley, but
yeah, very, very cool. And he's one of those super underrated guitar players, and they always got that the bad press of sounding too much like come on, brain.
Chris Cornell,
thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. So he got a lot of bad press because people thought, oh, he sounded like Chris Cornell.
Really?
And now that I think about it, he really kind of does. But for the first 2 albums anyway.
I guess so.
But yeah, I mean, super underrated guitar player. Very, very unique. He's one of the cats that really stands out as his own guitar style, which is wicked.
He was a. Maybe did we talk about this in an episode already about backstage with those guys?
No.
Did we talk about that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So it was right around Halloween, and Dane was wearing this clown.
I remember that.
Wig. Yeah. So
Yep.
he had this clown wig on, and I had backstage passes through the record company thing, and so get backstage, and Dane's still wearing his wig on there, and then the guys from Big Rec just come bursting through the doors, and they're just slamming open all the food things, like those metal food things that have like you open up, or you're
Catering,
at a buffet. Yeah. They're like, there's a fucking chicken here. All I wanted was chicken. Just like throwing this up, getting all pissed off. Then they see Dane, and they're like, hey, we saw you in the crowd. You stood out for us. We remember you. They were like, cool, man. And then they were gone. That was it. They were like so big back then. It was, late 90s kind of thing, and they were at their peak, and I don't know, it was just a bit of a rock star moment. I think it was funny.
Holy shit. I remember that wig, but I don't remember that night.
It was a hell of a night.
It was a good night. Yeah.
Sounds like it.
It was the Watchmen, actually, and
yeah. Okay.
another CanRock band for you there, the Watchmen and Big Rec.
Yeah.
I had, okay, I'll throw my names out for you. I had the Doughboys on there.
I was going to say that. Shine.
They're Canadian?
Yeah, Montreal.
Ah.
I always loved that band. I don't know, that whole album, that Crush album, is another front to backer for me.
Wow.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
solid. I had Tea Party on there.
Always solid. Always great.
Rhymes with Orange.
Rhymes with Orange. That I only had the cassette,
Yeah.
but it was so. I still have it somewhere in a box, and it's wicked hard to find anything else on them.
No, yeah, they're not.
I found a quick little video of, and it wasn't even like a music video of Toy Train.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't find anything. So I got to find a way to transfer my cassette to digital so I can listen to it again. Because I can't find it anywhere.
It's not on Spotify?
I haven't been able to find. I found like one song. I think Toy Train's the only song that I found on there.
That's it, hey?
Yep. We haven't touched Danko Jones.
I love
That's
Danko
another
Jones.
one.
I love the old Danko Jones stuff. And another great live band. So entertaining and, good presence. Good stage presence. I like that band.
Yep. What about Sandbox?
Sandbox.
Remember them?
Yeah.
Not an amazing band, but I always thought it was cool that it had Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys on guitar.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Sandbox. I had that album. I bought that album.
Hilarious. I forgot about that.
My last two are Alexis on Fire.
Fuck yeah.
That was going to be next on my fucking list. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I've just been listening to that last album pretty much on repeat for the last, I don't know, this entire pandemic, I think.
Which album?
The one with the cardinal on the front, old Cardinals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Young Cardinals. Young Crows, yeah,
Old
whatever.
Crows, Young Cardinals, yeah. So
Just-
good.
yeah.
Another front to backer for me, but I don't know what it is about that album. It's been on repeat.
Well, check out their new-ish EP. I think it's about 2 years old now, but they got back together after that, and their new EP and the stuff they put out is crushing as always. So
I couldn't get into it. And I was the biggest
Really?
the biggest Alexis on Fire fan ever. And I don't know. It sounds almost it sounds too hard, and I don't know why those words are coming out of my mouth.
on that album,
The EP.
oh yeah. Well, a lot of their last stuff was very, very City and Color sort of a vibe. Like they chilled out quite a bit, and it was kind of cool that they brought back the the heavier side of things. I dug that.
It's almost like contrived. I don't know. But
it's their thing. It's what they started with. Have you checked out the George Stroumboulopoulos his basement one?
Insane.
Such a good show.
So good. All those are really good,
damn
actually. Everyone I've seen have been pretty good. I even watched that Danko one, and it's solid.
Is it?
Yeah. It's good.
Did he find God or something?
George?
No. Danko. I don't know. George found something, but I don't think it's God.
Yeah,
found something in the back alley.
He thinks it is.
Yeah. No,
I don't know what Danko Jones, he just kind of, I think he ran out of, I think you can only do that shtick for so long, maybe that's what it is, and he wanted to make some hits.
He's still doing it, man.
And he's still,
No, but I saw an interview with him, and it was like, I'm thankful just to be able to, like, play music. And it's, like, not Danko Jones at all. It's this guy who's, like, almost...
The stage character and persona is completely different than his real life.
I guess so.
Yeah. But him back in the day compared to what he's doing now is a completely different character. You know, like he's slapping himself in the face with a mic and mashing bananas
blood
in his
and
mouth.
Sweat and
and now
sweat blood. Yeah,
we sweat blood down to I'm in a band and I love it. You know, like plug me
somebody
in.
listen.
And rock and roll.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate though, because he had such a unique vibe to him, and I even now, I mean, if I were to see him live again, the albums have been completely uneventful since then, but the live show is still a lot of fun.
Oh, I would think it would be. Yeah, it just
So the times saw him a couple years after that, and it was still entertaining anyway. So you know, he's still got the all pressed black suits, and like the stage show's still there, and
it's a good look. That one show we saw there at what was that? The country bar.
Cowboys.
No,
Cowboys.
It wasn't Cowboys.
It called that? Off White. What was
Cook
that
County?
called?
Cook County Saloon.
Cook County. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I played Cook County Saloon. Danko Jones, and he was solid that night. He was really good, and I remember it was really tight in there too, and really not much room to move, and they were playing all the country tunes before Danko Jones came out, and then it kind of cleared all the like country people out of there. Fuck out.
Yep.
But speaking of country, my last one on my list, and maybe again because I listened to a lot that my dad had, but I listened to a lot of Stompin' Tom Connors when I grew up.
See, I didn't listen to a lot of that until I met my wife, and then she grew up with a lot of that stuff, so it's kind of creeped in with. She's got a bunch of old cassettes and stuff, and we just kind of play those from time to time. It's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, that and Stan Rogers, lots of Stan Rogers too. So So there you go.
It was kind of cool when I went to Calgary there for that music museum they have, and they had Stompin' Tom's stomping board. Floor stomping board.
Yes, they had a stomping board.
He had a stomping board. Yeah,
I saw him before he passed away at Jubilee. At the Jubilee, all he does, man, and he walked out and he carries his board with him. And he puts it on the ground, and then boom, and he does that the entire time. At the end of the concert, picks up his board, get off the stage. That's it.
Yeah.
I can. My levels are like turning red here. I'm laughing so hard. I'm sorry. Is that?
I'll adjust.
Is that why he's called Stompin' Tom Connors? Tom Connors because he's got a stomping board. And what's a stomping board? That's just like a percussion type of thing?
It's just a piece of plywood.
It was just a piece of
plywood.
Just a piece of wood he puts on the ground and stomps on. I didn't know that.
Yes. He stomps while he's playing.
They even recorded, like they specially put a mic on that so that they could pick that up in all of his recordings.
It's just like a piece of plywood, or is it like a...
That's it.
Fuck yeah.
That's it. He walks out, and then he's got his cowboy boots and...
I did not know that.
You can't just stomp on dirt.
Wow.
That's why they call him.
And that piece of wood is in the music museum in Calgary?
It was in that Yep, it was there. It's got to still be there because it wasn't like a a passing through thing. But yeah, it was. There's his board. Okay.
Canadian music.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, yeah.
Cool.
My last one here. I wanna partially go back to Alexis on Fire. So Alexis on Fire is actually from my mother's hometown in St. Catharines,
Right.
Ontario. So I always thought that was pretty rad. And I've for the past 10 years or so, I've been a really big fan of the band Cancer Bats.
Oh yeah.
Now they're from Ontario, hardcore, melodic hardcore, kind of a deer post-hardcore, I guess. Anyway, so 2 years ago, I guess they came through Kelowna, and I wanted to get tickets to that show, but I didn't. I don't remember the reason. I think maybe it was like a Wednesday night. It was a school night or something, so I wasn't able to go. But at the time, their guitar player, Scott Middleton, he was off. They just had a kid, so he wasn't able to tour with them. But the replacement for him on guitar was Wade McNeil from Alexis on
Right.
Fire, and I'm still kicking myself for missing that show. It was I've seen some pictures and stuff. Actually, Shane from a couple podcasts ago, we talked about he ended up shooting for that show, and just the shots that he got were unreal.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish I could have been in that spot because it was just such a small
Oh
room.
my God, yeah.
And to see Cancer Bats with Wade McNeil would have been unreal.
No doubt.
And I don't know why I never had a chance to go see Alexis on Fire. Like it feels like it never came up where I was able to go, because I would have, but I don't know.
Yeah, same boat.
Apparently they had this thing, if you had an Alexis on Fire tattoo, you could get into any show for free.
Oh damn! I'm gonna go get one. They're touring again once this COVID
are
thing
they?
fucks off.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that'd be a band I'd want to see for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
I got a question for you boys. Okay,
Yep.
hands off the mice. Don't get off your Googles.
Shut the Google.
Who is the number one selling Canadian artist of all time? You get one shot.
Alanis Morissette.
Are you seriously?
Did I fucking get it? Okay, sorry. She's the biggest female Canadian artist of
Not
all
by
time.
a long shot, dude.
It's gotta be.
Come on, man.
I guess other than Celine fucking Dion.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Out of the ones that matter. Oh, Celine.
Out of all of them, right? Even Drake.
I didn't even get a guess.
Okay,
I didn't
Mike,
even get a guess.
you
in
go
there.
for.
I win.
All right,
I win.
Mike,
Okay,
you got
guess.
number 2. Who do you think number 2 is?
Oh man, Drake.
He's not even top 3.
Wow.
And this one totally surprised me because I was like, I'll give you a hint. I was like,
Neil
she
Young.
had a hit here and there, but I didn't think.
So 1 and 2 are both female artists?
Yep.
Damn.
Wow.
This is according to Billboard.com. Number
Damn.
1, Celine Dion. Number 2.
I can't even guess that.
Really?
Alanis Morissette was a good guess for
Come on, she had one album.
I tried.
female.
One album.
I tried. It was huge.
It was, but
It was a fucking huge album.
Anne Murray. I don't know.
what? You got,
Anne Marie.
Rita McNeil.
whose bed have your boots been under?
Oh, okay. All right. all
Oh,
right.
I keep forgetting she's
Right?
Canadian. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Number 3. We'll just do.
She was big enough to get residency in Vegas at the end of the day, so I guess she must have.
I thought she had a hit like here and there. I didn't think it was.
Oh, it was like every song on the album. It was released.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're not in the country circle, so I guess yeah.
Yep. Okay, guys. Number 3.
Number
3.
male or female?
Fuck you. Just
Come on, I got. Oh.
male.
Bryan Adams.
No. That doesn't really say much for Canadian music, man.
No, I know.
Bryan Adams. Nope. I guess so. Bryan Adams is pretty big international star. Yeah.
Big.
Okay, I take that back. But no.
Oh, that's tough, man. Neil Young was really fucking big.
Nope.
But probably not in his solo stuff. More of a
Oh shit! This is according to 2017.
Oh man.
Oh, well, that
You gotta
changes
find-
everything.
Oh, bullshit.
Everything.
Bullshit. You got to scratch all that except for
Wait
my
a
win.
second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Yeah, this is 2017. Whoops. So I mean, I'm sure Drake is number one or something like that. But okay, so in
Now,
2017,
with
who
all
did
the
you think
kids.
was the number 3 top selling Canadian artist?
2017.
I want my money back.
I'm still keeping my first win. Michael Bublé,
You got
isn't
it.
he?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, and there you go.
I win.
Yeah, I can't find. Anyway, there you go. 2017, boys.
This guy right here.
Yeah. Just nailing the Michael Bublé trivia.
There we go.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, there's lots, and we could probably do an entire episode in just 90s CanRock too, right? Like there's quite a bit there. But to be perfectly honest, I'm pretty out of touch with today's music, so I don't know much. I listed those names of Canadian artists, but that's just because they're kind of everywhere,
Right.
and still relevant. So, I think Canada's doing pretty good for themselves, that way, but that whole rock scene is dead and gone, I think.
It's sleeping. It'll come back. It's just sleeping.
Yeah. And there's lots of other ones we haven't listed too, right? Like Arcade Fire and
Oh yeah.
More recent ones too, but I don't know.
Yeah. The rabbit hole is deep on this one, so
Yeah.
all right, well, fucking O Canada, and that was a good one.
No bathroom breaks,
Fucking
hey?
losers.
I'm
No bathroom
squirming
breaks.
here like
I
a
had my beer all lined up, and are you still in your first can and you're ready to piss like a pregnant woman?
Oh no, I got a couple cans down here and water. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's shut her down.